It's Ron Reader digs the universe. I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe. And tonight, no new trial for Karmelo Anthony. Last year, I did an episode on Karmelo Anthony, who is black, killing Austin Metcalf, who is white, at a track meet in Frisco, Texas. The white teenager had attempted to physically remove from his school's tent the black teenager who had taken shelter from the rain. During the assault, Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Metcalf to death. Now, at the time, and still, it looked to me like a classic self-defense, stand-your-ground kind of killing. One guy stalks and attacks another guy and gets killed in the process. But it was pretty clear, though, that I was out of step with white public opinion, which was like, hang him! So, I guess stand your ground is something only white defendants can do, but really I already knew that. I mean, of course. At the trial, Anthony was found guilty and given 35 years. Thus, another young black man disappears into the criminal justice system. Then the news broke that the judge had told an interviewer after the trial that he agrees with the jury's decision, thereby making his appearance, at least, of impartiality problematic. The defense filed a motion for a new trial with the new judge subsequently, but last week that motion was denied. Disappointing, to say the least, but reading all this, I learned something else about the trial that is also disappointing. Anthony's lawyer decided not to make race an issue at the trial. Now, in addition to the fact that interracial killings by their very nature are always racially charged in some way, shape, or form, we know that this one is particularly so because of remarks made by Austin Metcalf's father after the jury reached its verdict. While condemning those who he said were using the race card in relation to his son's death and insisting that he's not a racist, he said he suffers from black fatigue and called Karmelo Anthony a watermelon felon. What the fuck? The acorn doesn't fall too far from the tree, which means it's highly likely that Austin Metcalf stalked Anthony with a sense of racial animus, which I think Anthony likely sensed. I think he feared for his life, and that's why he felt the need to use deadly force while defending himself. In addition to needing a new trial and a new judge, Karmelo Anthony should get a new lawyer. It was legal malpractice to avoid playing the race card. They're appealing the denial of the new trial motion, and we'll see where that goes. But whatever the outcome, the whole thing is a textbook example of how the criminal justice system is weighted against young black men. What would have been, if the races were reversed, a sympathetic stand-your-ground event with a widespread white assumption that the defendant was defending himself, instead spawned an online white lynch mob, certain that Anthony is just another thug and therefore deserving of whatever punishment he ultimately deserves. You have a prosecutor insisting that race was not a factor in the killing, and a defense attorney who apparently agrees with him, all topped like a cherry by a judge destroying his own appearance of impartiality. White people and the white power structure wanted Karmelo Anthony to be guilty, and he was found guilty. I'm Ron Reader, and this has been Ron Reader Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reader, again next week for another episode of Ron Reader Digs the Universe.